So, welcome everybody to the Business Fundamental Friday with Kelly Frazier, Garrett Pearson, and Scott Branley. You guys are going to get to know us a little bit here really quickly. And today is all about our teaching moment is all about finding your why in life and business. And Scott is going to be presenting that today, and he's got some amazing information. Again, Kelly's on the call. Kelly, why don't you say hi?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. So glad that you're here. I'm really glad to be here. I've been looking so forward to this.
Yeah, we all have, and I think a lot of people are on the call. There, it looks like there's a bunch of people on, and we're so excited to have you, Scott. Why don't you say hi?
Hi, everybody. It's good to be here.
Awesome. So get right into what we wanted to do today is we wanted to be able to let you guys get to know us a little bit better. So we love associating with high caliber, goal oriented people like you who want to improve their lives and their business while striving to make the world a better place. And that's why we've invited you. We want to give back to the entrepreneur and small business community. And that's why we're doing these business fundamental webinars. So we hope that the BFF calls become a highlight and a blessing in your life. We truly believe that these can help you. And again, building a community, building a place where you guys can come and ask your questions. So a little bit more about us. Let's turn, Kelly, we're going to turn the time over to you. And what we're going to do is we're going to let Kelly, me, Garrett, and Scott, we're going to introduce ourselves a little bit more about our personal sides. And we'll do this quickly. And then I'm going to introduce some of the cool things that Kelly's done. And Scott's going to introduce some of the cool things I've done, and I'm going to introduce some of the cool things Scott's done. So essentially, I'll toot Kelly's horn and Scott's, and then Scott's going to talk about me. So Kelly, why don't you start talking about yourself and about your
All
family?
right. Thanks very much. Well, I live in beautiful South Carolina. I almost said Southern California. That would be really nice. With my husband, John, and my daughter, Lacey. And we recently moved here to be closer to our sons' families, which we have older kids. And we've been incredibly blessed. As you can see, we have a great family there with our little new grandbaby daughter, Bella. And she's just an absolute joy. And what I can say about myself is that other than being incredibly blessed, I'm an athlete wannabe and I'm a closet musician and I have 72 things left to do on my bucket list of 100. And I am totally an advocate for emotionally connecting entrepreneurs to communities and their families. I also do a lot of volunteer work locally because this is a new area. I'm looking for new places and I found a great orphanage that's in our area, so I plan to do a lot of work there, plus speaking for different women's groups. So that's a little bit about me.
What kind of things do you do, Kelly, to stay active?
Oh, golly. I do a lot of running, a lot of softball playing, a lot of biking. We don't do short trips. We do about 25 miles when we go biking. So we do a lot of that.
Cool. Now you can see Kelly's beautiful family there. Her little granddaughter, I think Isabella.
Yes, correct.
Isabella is just adorable. She's got a beautiful family. Now I met Kelly um, man, like 3 or 4 years ago, I think 3 years ago, at an Alex Mendozian event, and I recently reconnected with her at an event in San Diego with Robert Evans at his event. And Kelly is an amazing person. She loves people. I've never seen somebody that loves people so much, and she can really understand people. Now, Kelly, some things that she's done in the business world, she's the founder of Connecting LLC and creator of Mastermind Master Money. And she has a new program that's coming out all about creating masterminds and charging, high ticket fees for those masterminds. And she's coming out with that program here pretty soon, and she's doing an amazing job with that. She's got some really big people on the radar like Scott Martineau, um, all these Max Simon and a lot of big people that are going to help her promote that. So she's doing an amazing job with that. And I've actually had the opportunity of of having Kelly coach me a little bit on creating masterminds. And when I talked to her about it, she's just so smart when it comes to building communities and building masterminds. So if you guys ever have anything where you need to create a mastermind to help grow your business, and she's the person to go to. Now, Kelly has over 7 years of experience in the personal and professional development industry, both online and offline. And the coolest thing about Kelly is she's an authority in creating and structuring mastermind communities for entrepreneurs, both beginners and seasoned experts alike. So, Kelly has become an amazing friend to me. And Scott, now I introduced her to Scott, and that's really where we came together on, she's such a person that wants to give back, and so are we. And so we decided, how can we give back to people that are like us, or people that are just starting out, or just not sure how to grow their business? How can we give back to those people? And Kelly, Scott, and I, we decided to do these Business Fundamental Fridays. And Kelly is the perfect person to answer questions, to help you think differently. I think that's what I love about Kelly. She thinks differently. She thinks spiritually, which is just amazing. So that's a little bit about Kelly. We're going to move on now to Scott. If I can do this right. There you go.
Hi, everyone. Just a little bit about me. I grew up in Canada, and we were kind of like the black sheep of our family. And when I was older, when I was 21, we moved to Utah, and that's where I've been ever since. As you can see, I've got four beautiful kids. They look really nice there, but 2 of them are pretty crazy. So I pretty much have like 6 kids, and I just love my family, and I don't know. I
What are
love
some of the things you like to do?
I love running like Kelly does. Garrett and I we run 2 times a week.
Yeah, actually, we're running a half marathon in our city tomorrow, and we've been kind of training for it, so we're excited about that. Now, here's the thing about Scott. Scott is the most humble person you'll ever meet, and he's literally my best friend and my business partner. And Scott, he is the biggest idea generator in the world. If you want an idea to help you just get your juices flowing, Scott's the man to go to, because he just comes up with some of the most amazing ideas. Now, Scott got started, I think, about almost 14 years ago now, almost 14 going on 15 years ago, online, when online was just barely starting. And he started with his dad, and they got started in creating e-commerce websites, and they created a t-shirt e-commerce website, and it just started growing and growing. And then they started selling more things, and then they sold that business, and then they started a company called TrustGuard, which a lot of you are probably familiar with. And Scott is just a true entrepreneur. In fact, the funny thing is, he comes up with so many ideas that I have to stop him. We're business partners, and so we have to like double check all these ideas that Scott comes up with. But Scott is just a very humble, and he just loves giving back, and you'll learn more about that here in a little bit. But that's a little bit about Scott. Now, to me, Garrett Pearson. What you're going to see there on the left is me, and in the middle is Gracie, my 4-year-old, and my beautiful wife, Lindsay. And that's us at a Utah Jazz game. We were like on the 4th row, and we wanted to give Gracie the experience of being a part of a big, huge Utah Jazz crowd. And it was just so fun. So that's Gracie. You'll see her there at the top right. She's turning 4 on Monday, and I can't believe it. Gracie is the love of my life, and she's just amazing. Now, Jack, you'll see Jack there. He is 3 months old this week. 3 months old. My wife made that little tie for him, and he is the best baby in the world. He's slept through the night for the past 15 days. Now, can I get a hallelujah?
Wow.
That is just amazing. And so Jack is the newest addition into our lives, the 2 beautiful kids. Like Scott talked about, I love running. I love exercising. I love building businesses. And another passion I have is writing books and helping others write books. And so that's just a little bit about me. Scott, why don't you
Well, one thing I really like about Garrett is, like he said, he keeps me on track. But Garrett is very dedicated when he has a project that he wants to get done. We'll talk about a project, and then we'll come back over the weekend, and he'll have hired people, and the project's pretty much done. And he's just dedicated like that. One of the cool things that Garrett did when we first met each other is he decided he was going to write this book, and he wanted to go and interview, was it 30 people?
Yeah.
So he made a goal to interview 30 highly successful people and write a book about the interviews that he did with them. And so what he did is he just called one person that he kind of knew, and he got them to say yes. And then he leveraged that relationship, and he went to the next person, the next person. He made a list of 30 people that he wanted to talk to, and I think you talked to almost every single one of them, right?
Yeah, I did.
And there were huge names like the CEO of Century 21 and just gigantic people in the world. And he made this book. And so what's one really cool thing that I love about Garrett is he's very dedicated, and he has laser vision.
Yeah, so thank you, Scott, and thank you, Kelly, for sharing more about yourself. We wanted to do this, everybody, to just give you an idea of who we are. Because some of you, you get our emails, or you've purchased our products, or whatever it is, you know us in some way. And we wanted to let you get to know us on a personal level and know some of our accomplishments and see pictures of our families, so that you can really understand that we are just normal people. And I hope that you guys can understand that. We take out the trash just like you do. We brush our teeth at night just like you do. And we make mistakes just like you do. And we have awesome families, and we have amazing lives, and we want to share that with you guys. So what we want to do next is go into the teaching moment. Okay, each week on these Business Fundamental Fridays, we're going to have a teaching moment. Again, 10 to 20 minutes long. We'll try and keep them really quick so that we can get right into the Q&As. So today's teaching moment is going to be by Scott Branley, who you just learned a little bit more about. And it's all about finding your why in life and business. And we're really excited to talk about this, because this is something that we've really been trying to understand, is why do we do what we do? And so, Scott, it's your time.
Awesome, thanks. So I wanted to start out with kind of the big picture, because I think we all have something like this in common. We've all had this idea, I'm sure, at least everyone that Kelly and Garrett and I, there's something inside of us that tells us that we've been put on this earth for a reason. And you've probably said something like this in your head. I've been put on this earth for a reason, and I want to make a difference in the world. I want to leave a legacy. And it might be something, it might be different words in your head or whatever, but my guess is you have something similar like that you want to do in your lifetime. And so the question that I want to ask is, are you currently doing anything about it? And if you're not, or you're not doing as much as you want to, then you probably don't have a big enough reason why that you need to take action now. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. So this is kind of what I want the conversation to be. How to leverage 4 key areas in your life and business that will ignite the passion you need to take action and reach your full potential. And I'm going to talk about the 4 main passions that affect all of our lives. And we've already talked about one of them. And the first passion that we talked about was our families. And Kelly, Garrett, and I all shared, how important our families are to us in our lives, and how they motivate us and make us want to be better people. Now, the next thing that we're passionate about and that really motivates us is that we love helping people. And here's some of the businesses that Kelly, Garrett, and I run, and some of them are independent, and some of them we run together. But the reason why I want to show you this is because I don't want to show you how cool we are that we have all these businesses. I'm showing them to you because the businesses create a picture of who we are. And the types of businesses we run are a direct reflection of the way that we think and what we believe in. And all of our businesses, you can see here, are focused on helping people to be more successful, either in their business or in their life. So let me ask you a quick question here. How do you know if you're passionate about your business? Well, if you can't wait for Monday to come so you can go to work, that's how you can tell if you're passionate about your business. I went on a snowmobiling trip recently with some of my uncles, and on the trip they were talking about how they were dreading going back to work on Monday. And I was sitting there listening to them, and I'm thinking to myself, man, that's such a bizarre thought. I can't wait to go back to work on Monday. And it was just so foreign to me, because I guess I've just been an entrepreneur for so long, that it really, I really thought about that. And I came to work and I told Garrett that, how disappointed they were, how dreading Monday these people were. And so that's kind of a good measurement of if you're passionate about your business. Another one of our passions is on this page as well, and that's healthy living. If you look to the bottom right, you'll see, Kelly mentioned that she loves running. Garrett and I do too, and we all strive to live healthy, active lives. And Garrett and I have been lucky enough to be able to turn our passion for running into a business. And we have a running magazine that we put out called runutah.com, and it helps thousands of runners in Utah. And we also have utahrunning.com, which is the #1 race directory and community for runners in Utah. Now, those are it's almost like a hobby, but we've turned it into a business because that's something we're passionate in, that we love. And if you can find things that you're passionate and you love, and you can turn those into businesses, that's just icing on the cake. So the fourth thing that really we're passionate about is that we love to give back. And Kelly mentioned, she loves to volunteer, and she's helped a lot of people. And you can see there's a picture of her volunteering with Feed the Children. And I was just wondering, Kelly, if you could tell us maybe one or two of the ways that volunteering has made a difference in your life.
Oh my, there's so many ways it's made a difference, but I think probably the biggest way is just to realize how truly blessed that we are. Guys, I used to actually feel guilty, believe it or not, over the things that I did have, rather than feeling blessed about it and being able to share what I do have. So it's definitely a different mindset when you go out and you really interact with people and see the difference that you can make, whether it's with your business or just your personal time. A lot of people feel like you've got to be able to give money all the time, that if you go to a nonprofit, they're just going to ask for money. Any way that you can give, they're happy to receive for the most part. But for me personally, I think just working with orphans and the elderly have been my greatest joy in life, and I've learned so much about myself and about life and business because of it.
Yeah, and then this is Garrett, and thank you, Kelly. Another thing that we've been able to do, Scott and I, and our companies, is we've been able to give back to kids in Kenya. We're part of a community and a foundation called World Teacher Aid. And last year, you can see some pictures of Scott. Scott went over to Kenya and met the kids that we built a school for, with Stu McLaren and David Fry and a lot of other big online marketers. And so we've had the opportunity to give back. And the coolest thing is Scott and I are going back to Kenya in July. And we donated another school and to the feeding program for these kids in Kenya. So last year they built a elementary school, and this year we're building a kind of a junior high school. And it's just an amazing experience. And so we love giving back. And if a lot of you probably feel the same way.
Right. Okay, so the reason why we're telling you all this is not to toot our own horn, like Garrett said earlier, but we want to show you kind of who we are and why we do what we do, and what really gets us fired up in life. And what it really comes down to is that we're all different. But I bet that you could probably relate to all four of the passions that we've shared with you in your own way and through your own life's experiences. And being passionate in these four areas is actually what we've realized, it's a success pattern. And it's a pattern to living an outstanding life. And we want to kind of talk a little bit more about that and show you how to apply it. So let me ask you a question. When you die, I know it's probably it's not really a happy thing to think about, but when you die, what do you want people to say at your funeral? Because if our goal in this life is to make the world a better place and to leave a legacy, then really our funeral is kind of like our final grade. And like Steve Jobs, he died recently. I'm sure when he had a lot of time to reflect at the end of his life and really think of, did I do everything I wanted to do? Did I give everything I needed to give? And I actually internalized that in my own life what was it, about a month ago?
Yeah, I think so, a few months ago.
When I talked to you about that. And so I decided, why don't I script my funeral? And so I sat down at my computer and I actually wrote down what I wanted people to say about me when I died. And it was quite revealing and it was actually inspiring, ironically.
Now, let me interrupt you, Scott. Now, some of you might be thinking to yourselves, why are these guys talking about, their families, spirituality, physical, running and family relationships? I thought this call was about business fundamentals and helping me grow my business. What we've found, guys, is that if you don't have balance in all these four areas in your life, your business is going to struggle. And I know that might be hard to take, but it's the truth. And so I want you guys to think to yourselves, and those of you that are thinking, well, I thought we were going to talk about business and you're going to help me, get more traffic or make more money or all this. Yes, we are going to help you guys with that. But we wanted to start out these calls with these four areas because, again, until you find balance in these four areas, or at least the three that we're talking about, whether it's spirituality or giving back, service, physical, mental health, and family and relationships, until you guys find a balance, until we find a balance in these things, it's going to be really hard to grow our business.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Garrett. So I broke it out into these four areas. And what I want to do is I'm actually going to share with you what I wrote down. Now, I was debating on doing this because it's really personal, but I eventually decided that I was going to share it with you because I want you to hopefully internalize what I'm sharing with you, and hopefully you can come up with your own list, and it really enlightens you. So I'm going to share this with you. So this is what I want people to say about me at my funeral, as far as my spirituality and my service in life. Scott was an inspiration to those around him. He taught by example, and he had a close personal relationship with God. He was very charitable, compassionate, and humble. As far as family and relationships, Scott truly loved his family. He had a gift for meeting new people and making new friends. He was always glad to help out whenever anyone needed a hand. He was dependable, loyal, and someone that people really looked up to. Physical mental health. Scott was a big health advocate. He was active and enjoyed life to the fullest. He taught and inspired a lot of people to improve their bodies and live healthier lives. And finally, business. Scott was an incredible businessman. Not only did he create dozens of highly successful companies over the years, but he improved countless people's lives in the process. He didn't just sell people products. He really cared about their success and helped his clients to be outstanding, both personally and professionally. Now, these are things that I want them to say. A lot of these things I'm still striving for and working towards, but those are the things that I came up with that I want people to say about me. And if that happens, then I can look back and say, you know what? I was a success in life. I made a difference. And one thing I want to point out is I put business at the end of the list, and there's a reason for that. And it's because the other three things are more important. And out of all the four passions that we've talked about, business is the only one that we won't wish that we did more of at the end of our lives. So keep that in mind. That's why I put that at the end. So everything I've shared to this point all essentially boils down to two things. And this is kind of where we do the reflection. So where are you now in your life? And is the current path you're on going to get you to where you want to be? To where, to that point where you can leave a legacy. And it's all a matter of being congruent. And like Garrett said, balancing out these four main areas in your life.
Something, Scott, my dad always told me that I've kept, and it's not a direct quote from him, it's from somebody else, but he said, if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting.
Yeah.
Let me say that again. If you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting. And that, I keep that in my mind all the time. What am I doing right now? Like Scott's talking about, why am I here? Where am I at? And until you boil down and figure out where you're at right now and where you want to go, it's going to be really hard to move forward.
Yeah. So these are some of the questions, the big questions that you really have to ask yourself if you want to reach your ultimate goal of leaving that legacy in your life. Why are you here? Why do you care about your family, your friends, your spirituality, your business, or your job? Why should you care about less fortunate people, or your health, or your finances? Those are big questions. And why do you want to improve in these areas? And why do you want to leave a legacy? And in most cases, you're going to find that those reasons are fueled by either love or hate, and both are great motivators. For example, Garrett and I were talking as we were going over this. For health, for example, if you're overweight, why do you want to get healthy? Well, it might be because you're sick and tired of being unhealthy, right? You hate being overweight, and so that's going to be your motivation. But eventually, that might turn into, I love being healthy. Once you've reached a certain point, that tipping point, that hate is going to turn to love, and that's going to become your passion. And you can apply that same principle to all of those things, even with your business or your job. You can turn those things that you hate into things that you love.
Scott, I love what you're saying here. I tell you, the most extremely beneficial conversations that I've had with the high-level entrepreneurs, the really successful guys, they all say the same thing. I say guys, but I mean male and female both.
Mm-hmm.
They all say that in order for me to move forward, it's visualizing in the spiritual, physical, family, and business realm. And I think it just reiterates what you're saying here. If you want a 6-figure business or a 7-figure business, these foundational principles are precisely what we need to focus on the most in our lives.
Exactly. And so to kind of end this, we want to give you a roadmap, essentially. And this is actually something really cool, how to take action. And Garrett and I do this every month. And this we really want you to pay attention here, because this is the key to everything that we've talked about so far. And so what we do every month at the beginning of the month is we have a strategic planning meeting. And during that meeting, we evaluate where we are on a scale of 1 to 10 in these four areas, right? In spirituality and service, physical and mental health, family relationships, and business. And the cool thing about this is we get really granular, right, Garrett?
Yeah, we get pretty deep, and we give ourselves a score. So, for example, 1 being lowest, 10 being the highest. So when we're doing these meetings and we're talking with each other, we start out with spirituality. Okay, Scott, where are you at on a scale of 1 to 10 in your spiritual life right now? Not last week, not tomorrow, right now. And so he might say, well, I'm at a 6 or a 7. Okay. What can you do? Yeah, why? So then we ask the question, well, why are you at a 6? Well, because of this, because of that. Okay, what can you do to get to an 8, 9, or 10? And we come up with specific action items of what we can do. So then we go to physical. Okay, he might ask me, and I might say, well, Scott, I'm at a 5. Well, why? Well, because I've been eating a lot of junk food lately. And okay, so what can you do? Well, stop eating junk food. So it just what I think happens is it makes us aware of exactly where we're at right now and what we need to do to move forward. And we do this. We don't only do this each month. We do this at least once a week. And we find a way to talk about these things. And it's just amazing how it's changed our life. So we just evaluate where we are at in those 4 areas of our life.
Right. And, sometimes it might just be something small that you are willing to do or you have the time to do. But if you can go from a 6 to a 6.5, you've made improvement.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be, I'm a 5 now, I'm going to jump to a 9 next month. But as long as you're making that progress, that's the key. So here's some quick tips to improve your success with doing this. First of all, we go somewhere not at work.
Yeah, we get out of the office.
We get out of the office. One place we love to go is Snow Basin, and so we'll go up to Snow Basin, and
it's a ski resort here by our house.
Yeah, ski resort, and we'll just walk around the parking lot for like an hour and a half. We'll just go through this stuff, and it's just amazing. So we recommend that you go for a walk when you do this, and that you talk with somebody. And if you don't have someone to talk to, just talk out loud and really just think about do this with yourself out loud so you can verbalize it. And then immediately after, we sit down and we write it out so that we have some kind of a plan to go by. And
I was just going to say, guys, excuse me, Scott. I was just going to say, I do the same things. I didn't know that this is what you guys do, but I do the same exact things. And it might start off first thing in the morning where, just spending that individual quiet time by myself, just either praying, meditating, whatever I need to do to just get real still and real quiet, because truly that's when I can hear the most about, what my heart's saying, what my mind is saying, and to be able to write it all down. I had no idea that that's what you guys do, but it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, and it's not surprising that you do that as well. So, and I'm sure there's people that do that on the call too, but it's always good to have a reminder. So I just want to close with a quick story. What I've realized recently is that you can actually leave a legacy now. You don't have to wait till you die. And I actually learned this from my daughter. And what happened was about a month and a half ago, my wife sent me a text message, and she said, Clarissa's out in the driveway. She built a stand, and she's collecting donations for the Smile Train. She thinks she has $15. And I just sat there. I'm like, wow, nobody motivated her to do this. She just had this idea that she wanted to help a child get cleft palate surgery in Africa. And so she just went out. You can see the picture there. She printed this picture off online, and she wrote, help this kid, donate today. So I thought that was pretty funny, but
so cool.
I know, it's so cute. And then she wrote a script. She's holding her script that she had. And so she just went around and read her script to people, and she's collected a bunch of money. And I realized you can live your legacy while you're alive, and every day you don't have to wait till you're dead to do it. That was a big realization, a big aha for me. And I hope that I can, get that through to you, that you don't have to wait till you're dead to reach your goals. You can start doing it today. And in closing, Garrett and I, every morning we read from motivational books that we found that really help us. We were reading in this one today, and it was exactly about the topic that we're talking about. And so we just want to read a little clip from the book that we were reading, the McKay MBA of Selling in the Real World. And this kind of sums everything up.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and read this. He says, people very often do the same thing. They restrict themselves and never reach their potential. And they say, your past is not your potential. In the words of Charlie Brown, the greatest burden in life is to have a great potential. Far too many people exist in a world of what is rather than applying their engines to what can be. To reach your potential, the primary ingredient is desire. Many people fail to succeed because they don't know what they want or they don't want it in the worst way. That's my favorite part. Let me read that again. Many people fail to succeed because they don't know what they want or they don't want it in the worst way. In other words, they aren't willing to work for it. They don't want to pay the price. So we read that today, and like Scott said, it just fit perfectly with what we wanted to share with you. And so that's our teaching moment for the day. We want to thank Scott for that. He did an amazing job. And hopefully you guys can reflect on some of the things in your life that you can improve, that are going well, that you can really find your reason why you get up in the morning. Why is it that you get up in the morning? Why is it that you're building this business that you're building? Why is it that you're raising your family the way you are? So that hopefully we hope that you guys can live up to your potential. And that's why we're here. That's why we're doing these Business Fundamental Fridays. And so now what we want to do is we want to turn the time over to you guys, where you can, again, raise your hand or in the chat area. So you can either raise your hand and we will unmute you, or you can ask your questions in the chat area. Here are the guidelines for this. Okay, what we want you to do is we want you to introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and tell us your domain name, okay, and make it quick. We just want your name and your domain name and where you're from. Be specific with your questions. Be very specific, and no selling, and keep it short. Respect the time, and we want to get through as many of these as we can. If we can't get to all the questions, if there's just too many, which we're hoping that's the case, then keep in mind that we're doing these every Friday so that you can come back and ask your questions next Friday. And we'll be sending you guys some emails with some ways that you can ask your questions in a more discreet way if you want as well. So in the right-hand side, or on the GoToWebinar control panel, what you need to do is start asking your questions. And here's some ideas for you to maybe help you out. And it doesn't have to be a question. It can be a specific, answer to a question we have for you as well. Like, what are some of your passions? Why do you get up in the morning? Do you have a tip that has helped you become more productive? What are some other ways that you've been able to motivate and drive yourself and or others to success? What is an action item you've been inspired to take today? You can also ask any questions you have about growing your business, improving your life. What are some of your biggest challenges that you're having right now as a business owner and growing your business or improving your life? So start asking those questions. Let me see if we can see if anybody's raised their hand. I thought I saw one. Michael Dyson. I think you did that earlier. So Michael, I'm going to unmute you. Michael, you there?
Yes, Garrett. No, I do not have a question. I put a comment on at the beginning of the webinar.
Oh, okay. Well,
but I would like to say, though, that I really agree with your philosophy. And I know that blessing other people will bring blessings back.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Michael. We appreciate you being on the call.
All right. Thank you.
Garrett, there's another thought that comes to my mind, and that's the quote that says, "The way you do anything is the way you'll do everything." And the first time I heard that, I had to really think about it and say, is that really true? As I started to, excuse me, as I started to analyze everything that I had done in my life, I realized that it very much was true. And it even came down to the smallest details of my life. And so I regularly often think about that. Well, have I done everything I possibly could to the very best of my ability? And is that the way I live my life? Or do I only do that in some areas of my life? So it was kind of an interesting thought to be able to apply that little quote to my life and see how it really does spur me to just really do the very best no matter where I am at, for whomever, whenever.
Thank you. That's awesome. Jackie has a comment. Thanks, Jackie. She says, 2 years ago, I was taken through a process on stage in front of 150, 200 people of being by my graveside. Oh, that's crazy. It changed my life and gave me purpose, motivation, and was the beginning of it if everyone cares. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jackie. Jackie says again, this week I had what some people may call a setback. However, I believe it is probably a gift. Now I'm wanting to find out how I approach software program developers. Okay, so that's a specific question. Now, Jackie, maybe you can clarify that a little bit better and tell us exactly what you need software program developers to create. Are you building a website? Are you, and if you want, you can raise your hand and we can unmute you. Oh, there you go. Okay, I'll unmute you and let you go into more depth of what that is. Okay, Jackie. We don't hear you yet.
Need to unmute. Maybe?
Yeah, I unmuted her.
On her end, I mean, maybe your phone's muted, Jackie.
Or your mic. Do you have a mic, Jackie? We don't hear you, so. Okay, if
well,
you
please feel free to continue just dropping questions in the chat or raising your hand too while we wait for Jackie.
She says she's lost all sound. Does anybody else have sound? Let us know in the chat.
That's interesting. Yep, sound is good. Sound is fine. I can hear you.
Okay, so we've got Jackie, we'll come back to you. Roshana, I'm going to unmute you. You've raised your hand. Wait a minute. Let me just figure this out. Okay, Roshana, you there? Roshana? Huh. Well, Roshana, you're unmuted. We don't hear anything. Keep in mind, guys, that you need if you're using your computer, you have to have a mic to be able to talk. So, okay, so we'll have to mute. We'll mute you, Roshana. If you find a mic, then let us know and raise your hand again. Okay, so we got some more. We got James Shaw. Hey guys, I run resistattack.com, which started out as an e-commerce site, but last summer I had an epiphany and started a mission to give free products to help women defend themselves. Wow, that's cool. We've had a lot of support since then, and we're now creating a nonprofit to scale up our mission. Helping others is awesome. Thanks, James. That's awesome. That's really cool. Let's see, George White. Okay, he's just letting us know he still has sound, I think. Okay.
Garrett, excuse me. I just wanted to mention something to James that I don't know if he knows who Kelly Rudolph is, but he may want to connect with her. She also does self-defense for women, and she's done this for years and years, and so you definitely want to look her up. That's Kelly with a Y, K-E-L-L-Y, and Rudolph, R-U-D-O-L-P-H, I want to say.
Cool. Well, thanks, Kelly.
Yeah, that could be a good connection for sure.
Yeah. So we've got Dinesh. Sorry if I say your name wrong, Dinesh. Hi guys, I'm Dinesh Mistry with myfairytalebooks.com. My question is, do you have any suggestions on how small business owners can overcome the fear of growing their business and moving to the next level? Wow, that's a great question. Okay, so you're growing your business now. It sounds like you are doing okay, but you want to take it to the next level. Well, I think today's talk is perfect for you. And going back to why, okay? Why do you want to go to the next level? And once you figure out why you want to go to the next level, then you'll be very clear on why you want to get there. And then what you need to do, like we mentioned today, is take time to write down some action steps so that you can get there. And usually going to the next level means you, sometimes in my case, means I'm not happy with where I'm at. So determine what that next level is for you, why you want to get there, and then what you're going to do to get there.
Well, maybe it might be fear of having to talk to someone that you think is,
Help you get there.
Yeah, I mean, and you overcame that fear, Garrett, talking to all those people. How did you do that? How did you call those 30 people?
Yeah, so maybe that is something, Dinesh, that you're just afraid of what lies ahead, maybe, or you need to build some relationships to help you get to the next level. And really, the biggest thing that I've learned in my life, with business and life in general, is just ask. Just ask. So if to get to the next level you need somebody to help you get there, then just ask. And what you'll find is a lot of times people will respond, and a lot of times people will say yes. The issue is you just need to ask. So I hope, Dinesh, and I'm sure I'm saying your name wrong, and I'm sorry if I am, I hope that helps you a little bit. Find your why, find your what, and create specific action steps to what that next level is and how you're going to get there. And if you're still scared once you find all those things, then a mentor and an accountability partner is somebody that I would suggest. Find somebody that has gotten to the level that you want to go and ask them how they did it. And ask them if they will be your mentor and your accountability partner so that they can help you get to that level that you want to go. Okay, so...
Can I throw one other thing in there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, rejection and judgment, we deal with those things a lot as entrepreneurs, and being rejected is something that's going to happen, so expect it. But at the same time, definitely never let it be self-defeating. And the biggest thing that you can do to overcome the rejection is to just remind yourself, one, of the why, of course, two, of what it is that you're doing, but three, of all of those who love and support you, no matter what you're doing, whether it's in business or in life. Just keep reminding yourself of all those people who love and support what you do. And if you find you don't have that support system underneath you, then definitely start connecting with people who are like-minded with you at the same level that you're at or higher. And like Garrett said, just ask, because that truly does help you become more self-confident, and it really does get you over that bridge of rejection.
Yeah, perfect. And going back to Jackie, Jackie, with your question, if your audio is not working, then just go ahead and put your question and clarify that question that you had in the chat area. I'm going to unmute, let's see, Lorraine. Okay, Lorraine, I'm going to unmute you. You got your hand up. Let's see if we can hear you. You're unmuted, Lorraine. You there? It sounds like I can tell that you're using your computer mic, or you're using the computer, so we can't hear you, Lorraine. So
something else they might want to do also, if it is more beneficial, on the email that you were sent to log in to GoToWebinar, they do provide a phone number with a PIN. So if you want to, you can call in, and I think that might be helpful too.
Yeah, so Lorraine, I'm going to put you back on mute. I'm sorry that didn't work. Jackie's got hers hand up again. So Jackie, I'm going to unmute you, and let's see if your audio is working. Jackie, you there?
Hi, Garrett, are you there?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Perfect.
Oh, way. I went on another computer. The other one, I don't know what happened. Okay, my questions. Okay, I'm from the UK, and the project that I'm working on is called If Everyone Cares. What I'm now looking for is software developers, program developers. The idea behind If Everyone Cares is to create an interactive global community map a bit like Google Earth. So if you imagine, you can go to Google Earth to find a restaurant, a hotel, a petrol station, gas station, as you'd say. But imagine if you could go to a global community map and you could find every single community project, charity and non-profit that's helping within the community in one way or another, so that those who need help can find where to find it in their own community just by clicking on their area they live in. Those who want to volunteer can find where to go and volunteer. Businesses can find who to support within their community, and projects can share their tools and resources, thus saving overheads and running costs and things like that.
Cool.
So that's what I'm looking for.
So you need a programmer, web developer to create that for you. Is that the
Yes.
question? Okay.
Where would I go? What questions do I ask?
Right. That's probably the most important thing. Where we go, and Kelly, you might have a different place, and some others of you that might have some tips as well, put those in the chat area and we'll read those. But where we go, we have some in-house designers and in-house programmers, but we're running some pretty big companies, so that's obviously probably not where you're going to go. But what we do, if we have a project that our programmers can't work on here at the office, is we go to elance.com. Okay, that's and I will put that in the chat area, and I'll send it to everybody. Elance.com is the one we like a lot. And now there's lots out there, and these are really freelance websites where there's programmers, designers. I mean, you can get people to do just about anything on these websites. And so what you need to, now the next important piece is to ask the right questions. What I like to do is go and see their portfolios and see what they've already done, and obviously see the reviews and testimonials of some of people that they've worked with. Okay, so that's probably my tip number one, is see what they've already done. And then the next thing is hire them for a small project. Make something up, and something that's really, really small and really, really easy, whatever that may be. Create a form that lets me do something, whatever. Just create a really small project, so that, because what I see happen a lot is people go out and they spend $5,000 and they get somebody to do their project, and then that company or that freelancer or that person doesn't do a very good job, and so they're out $5,000. So instead, create a small project that's like $25 to $50, just to get somebody to do something, and then see if they do a good job, and see if they're on time, and see if they follow up with you good, and know exactly what you want. And that's going to help you kind of vet out some people. That's just a suggestion. Asking some good questions, and being very specific on the time that you want them to finish it in, and being able to make sure that they give you exactly what you want. So the biggest thing that I've found with creating projects on Elance is I've got to be very, very specific with what I want. Scott?
Well, that also gives you the ability, having a little project gives you the ability to converse with that person, because you'll find if they're overseas especially, there's often a disconnect between what we say and what they understand.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that when you talk to them, they're understanding exactly what you're saying.
Yes. So, Jackie, that's just some examples. Now you can go local too, but the same ideas would apply, I think. Just being able to see exactly what they've done, getting some people that really endorse them and say that they've done a good job, because a lot of times what happens is that I've had happen and we've had happen is we hire somebody and they don't pan out, and so just being able to see what they've done in the past and giving very, very specific ideas of what you want, and then comes the negotiation side, of getting the best price. But if you do a small project, then it's going to be worth spending a little more if you know they're good. Does that help, Jackie?
That really does. Thank you very much. It's given me a brilliant starting point.
Good. Well, thank you, Jackie. I'm going to mute you back. Okay.
Actually, Gareth, there's one thing I just want to add to that too,
Okay.
and this may sound so absurd to some people, but this is what I chose to do 3 years ago when I was in that position of, okay, I've got all these projects, who do I hire? I actually went to my local community college and high school, and I found teenagers who are brilliant on the computer with graphics and design and programming, and I hired.
We lost you, Kelly. We lost your sound, Kelly. So I'm guessing she was going to say she hired some of those kids. So we lost you, Kelly. You might want to try and reset something. But we've got some more in the questions area. Caroline gave a productivity tip. She said, no email in the morning, start the day with revenue. Oh, shoot, it's us.
So hopefully Kelly's talking.
Great. Stupid internet.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, web events made easy.
Great. So I'm not sure. I think we lost Scott and Garrett.
Sorry, we lost.
We got the backup phone, so hopefully you
Welcome to GoToWebinar, web events made easy.
Yes, we just went ahead and we.
Did you just finish up that question? Can you hear me now, Kelly?
Ours is a course study focus, definitely. I think that's a great suggestion. The largest geographic, this is from Barry, the largest geographic information systems vendor in the U.S. is ESRI, and they may have some tools that will help Jackie also. So ESRI is not something I'm familiar with. I'm not sure what it stands for, but I might have to Google that one. And let's see.
Okay, we're back, Kelly.
Okay, great.
Did you read Caroline's productivity tip by chance?
No, I did not.
Caroline had a great productivity tip. No email in the morning. Start the day with a revenue generating activity. I love that.
Here, here.
So thank you, Caroline. I think Roshana has raised her hand again, and we got some more people that's raised their hands. So I'm going to try Roshana again. I'm going to unmute you, Roshana. Roshana, you there? Do we have sound for Roshana?
I don't hear anything.
Okay. Let's see. We got another one. Let's see. Tom Robbins. We're going to unmute you, Tom. Tom, you there? We have unmuted Tom. Nothing. Okay, well, Tom, we do not hear you. So make sure your mic is on. Kelly, can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay. So do you have any other questions that you've come up with that you've looked at?
No.
In the chat? Okay.
Actually, I think it was Roshana who was asking about advertisements. She said, hey, shall we discuss about advertising? I'm not sure specifically what it is that she's referring to. Oh, here's AdWords and Facebook ads, she's saying.
Okay. So now who is this from?
This was Roshana.
Roshana, okay. So
you have anything to add with that? All I can say is I have used Facebook ads in the past, and they definitely are effective. You know, you have to have a really good eye-catching hook sometimes in order for people to really, you know, get there to click on them. But I do think they're very effective, and you do pay when, you know, people do the click through.
Mhm.
And as far as the pay per click, you know, in doing the different advertisings, I am not a real big promoter of that. So Garrett, I don't know if you've had a lot of experience with that, but I have not.
Well, yeah, and thank you for taking that. I was trying to figure out some of these issues. Um, Here's the thing, Rashana, and anybody that does any paid advertising. The first thing is obviously, like Kelly said, you have to have an ad that people are clicking on. Okay, so the people actually have to click on the ad, and yes, you're going to pay for those. The next important thing is the ad has to be in a place where your target market is. Okay, and if you're just placing ads and random people are clicking on them and it's not targeted, then you're going to be wasting a lot of money. So you need to be advertising in a place. Now, Facebook is a great place, but you need to make sure you're advertising to the right kind of person. And so Facebook, you have the opportunity when you start creating your ads is to target those ads to specific people, specific groups, and specific ages, gender, etc. So again, you need to target the right person. The next thing with ads, so you don't lose your shorts with paying and not getting a return on your investment, is the page that you're sending that traffic to, it has to convert. Okay, it has to convert, meaning you have to have a website or wherever you're sending those people has to be making money, or they have to be opting in. Okay, the action that you want them to take has to be converting. And so, for example, if you're placing an ad and you want that person to buy your dresses that you have on the website, well, that ad, somebody clicks through it, they go to your website, and if they're not buying, if a certain percentage of those people are not buying, then obviously either there's something wrong with your ad or there's something wrong with your sales message on your website. So before you start spending a lot of money with ads, make sure that your website is converting and make sure that you're targeting the right people. Otherwise, it's just going to be putting money into the toilet, essentially. Now, I say that in a way of just as a warning, but sometimes we've placed ads where we knew we were going to lose money. We just wanted to test some things out, which is fine. And so do a lot of testing with low budgets first, get things working, and then you can start ramping those up. But the bottom line with any kind of advertising, whether it's direct mail, whether it's a billboard, whether it's TV ads or pay-per-click ads on Google AdWords or Facebook or wherever, if the ad is not targeted to the right person or if your website is not converting, you're going to be essentially losing a lot of money. So I hope that answers. Again, Rashana, if there's more specific questions that you have about that, then let us know. Let's see, is there anybody else has raised their hand? Nope. Let's see.
We did have a question, Garrett, about Odesk, and Odesk is basically like Elance.
Yes.
And it is another area where you can find some excellent contractors. Now, this person is saying that my experience using this site has been mixed. I'm generally specific about the project, but I find it challenging to get contractors to complete projects within a deadline. Do you have suggestions for improving one's experience working with contractors online, and in particular, those working outside of the United States? I'll tell you, like I said, I've had some brilliant contractors that I've worked with, and here's what I do as far as deadlines go. If I have a deadline that needs to be done, I make sure that I give myself at least a week leeway. So I'll give them the deadline that is a week prior to my actual deadline. Excuse me, that way I know for sure that it's going to be done. And then when I give them that deadline, they don't know that I still have a week before my actual deadline. So what I do is I say, okay, well, the project didn't get finished here. Is there an explanation? And if not, then I look forward to seeing it tomorrow or the next day. And I think just doing that in itself has been a marked improvement to people who actually give the actual deadline and then don't make it. So, give yourself 1 or 2 weeks ahead of time if possible.
Yeah.
Other thing,
When it comes to programming as well, our idea of on time or when we think it should be done is always later. We found so you need to give a lot of leeway especially when it comes to programming, because programmers it just takes time. It literally does. So just keep that in mind when it's programming. When it's design, it should be a little bit quicker. But when it comes to programming, I would say, like Kelly said, a week, maybe even more. We've had programs that we were designing and creating that went 2 months over date. And it was a good thing they did, because we found a lot of errors and a lot of things that needed to be fixed. So we always over or underestimate on the time. So sorry, Kelly, you were saying something else.
no. The one thing too that I wanted to mention, here's to work with people who are outside of the United States. I almost always going to be introduced to some kind of a language barrier. So here's what I suggest. If you know what you want, if you have a good idea, a clear indicator in your mind about what it is that your site might need to look like, if you can't give them an example of another site, draw it out in a Word document, or if you're on Mac, use Pages. Get some kind of a design written down. Put in your text, put in anything that you can that's going to help them have a clear visual picture about what it looks like. That way, it pretty much comes down to your responsibility. I'll tell you, a number of people have blamed their web people, their web teams, or their software developers. It does come right back to you, because you're responsible for communicating your project, and how that communication comes out, even if it falls on a person who doesn't have really clear English. If they have a picture in front of them, they're going to understand it, and they're going to be able to work from that, and then you can move on from there.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so Caroline had another productivity tip. Thank you, Caroline. And hopefully you didn't already say this when we were offline, but she says, hire a coach and be accountable to that coach and in a mastermind. That's a great tip. Yeah, that's great. And that's true, Caroline. And for all those listening, finding a mentor, finding an accountability partner. That's why me and Scott work so well together, is we are each other's accountability partners. We kick each other in the butt when we need it, and we're there, through the hard times and through the great times. So finding somebody that can help you and motivate you and coach you is awesome. So thank you, Caroline. We've got Gerald raised his hand. So Gerald, I'm going to unmute you and see if we can get your sound. Just 1 second. Okay, Gerald, you there? Gerald? Well,
I think I have Gerald's question up. He was asking, how important would it be to have live chat for my website?
Wow, that's a great question. Here's the thing, Gerald. The key to live chat is somebody there to man it. Okay, now if you have a live chat and it always says offline, then it's not going to do you any good.
Or if this is Scott, if you have a live chat and it says online and then they go there and then it says offline, that's just going to tick off your customer.
But what we found is live chat works very well. We believe it helps with conversions. We haven't really necessarily tested it, but our customers love it. It gives them the opportunity to chat with us or ask sales questions. So we have, like if you went to our websites, we have somebody on live chat right now. And, so there's a piece there though that you're going to have to pay somebody or you're going to have to do it yourself. And so having live chat, definitely we suggest it, but tip number 1, make sure it's manned and people are actually answering questions. Or if they're not, take it off. Tip number 2 is, are you going to do it or are you going to hire somebody to do it? That's something you need to decide.
Yeah. So what we do is if our chat goes offline, once our our customer service people leave the office, we just have it disappear.
Yeah.
And that's the best option. So
The reason why we do that is because we don't want it to stay offline.
right.
So we just make it disappear. So yeah, Scott, that's perfect.
There's also,
Go ahead.
there's also another feature too, and whenever I write my books, I put them through CreateSpace, and CreateSpace has an incredible system where they have a phone number. When you put in your phone number, it will automatically dial your phone.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but it's similar to that, and then you're instantly talking to someone on the phone. I think it's an amazing feature.
Yeah, it is. And again, it all comes down to, can you support that?
Mhm.
So hopefully that answers that question, Gerald. Again, we highly recommend it, and hopefully that helps you out. We are just launched. So I don't know if we talked about Lorraine's question. This is Lorraine from Reincarnation Arts. We just launched our website and are trying to figure out how to choose the right marketing roadmap. This Lorraine didn't have the mic. I remember that. So that's a pretty broad question, Lorraine. We could go a lot of different ways. What it comes down to is, do you believe in your new website? Do you believe that it's going to help the person that you're trying to target? And the next thing is it targeting the right person? Because a lot of times, I mean, here's the honest truth. Anybody can put up a website. I mean, it is so easy to buy hosting and put up a WordPress blog or whatever. Anybody can do it. The question is, when you're creating your marketing roadmap, is, am I targeting the right person?
Yeah.
Am I targeting that person, and am I talking to them in ways that they understand? The next thing is, when you're talking about a marketing roadmap, is a map usually tells you where you're going. So before you even create that map, where is it that you're going? Okay, where is it that you're going? What is it that you want? What is it that I want this targeted person coming to my website to do? What do I want them to do? And so we're revamping our shopper approved website right now. Literally, one of our designers is sitting in our office, and he's been working on this for the past 2 months. And what we've really been focusing on is targeting the right person and making sure that we are very specific with what we want them to do. So for example, when they come to our website, we want them to know that we care about them, that we're going to help them get ratings and reviews and help them make more money. And then we give them a specific thing that we want them to do, which is sign up for a free 30-day trial and try it out and see if it's something that is going to help you grow your business. Okay, and so we're very specific. So until you're specific on what you want on your website, what you want that person to do, then you can go ahead and start driving traffic. So I'm guessing, Lorraine,
Right. So there's almost 2 roadmaps you need. The first one is the roadmap of when they get to your website. What are they going to do there? Like an internal roadmap almost.
Yeah.
And then you reach out to the external, to the external roadmap, which is your
traffic.
marketing.
Yeah.
Getting your traffic.
Getting your traffic. So now, if that's more of your specific question, Lorraine, I'm going to go back to what I talked about earlier, is where is it that your community is congregating? And that's going to be your map. Go and find where it is that your people are, whether it's a small business owner that needs design, or
Maybe there's forums that they should go
there's
talk.
forums that they're talking in. So find out where they congregate, and then go create marketing around those areas and speak directly to those people and say, you have a problem and here's my solution. So hopefully that's going down the road of helping you out, Lorraine. Kelly, do you have anything to add?
No, nope. I think that was great answers.
And again, when I said it's pretty broad, we would need more specifics on, who your target market is, and maybe that's where you need to start. Maybe you don't know who your target market really is, and until you do, it's going to be really hard to go out and find them and then market to them. I mean, that's obvious. That's pretty generic and general, me saying that, go find your target market.
That's 90% of the
But it's
battle.
really 90% of the problem. And we realized that when we've started a couple of our websites, is we knew sometimes we didn't know who we were targeting. Okay, when we first started Shopper Approved, well, in our eyes, everybody that had a website that was selling something needed it. But we had to drill down deeper of, okay, it's a small business owner, an entrepreneur that has a website that's selling stuff that wants more sales and more traffic. And so that was their problem. More sales, more traffic, wanted ratings and reviews, and wanted to use word of mouth marketing. And then, so we directly targeted those people. So thanks for Lorraine for that question. Tom says, if funding is an issue, I always suggest working with a local school where graphic arts is a core study focus. So that's back to Jackie's question. Thank you, Tom. So he says again, he suggests working with a local school where graphic arts is the core study focus. What I'm guessing he's saying is you can get a lot of those students to do it for free or for really cheap.
Well, and we have 2 programmers in our office that are full time. We brought both of those guys in straight from university, and it was great because we could teach them what we wanted them to do, and they had all the basics, and they knew what to do.
Yeah, and I think Kelly, you might have already mentioned those when we were offline, and I'm sorry if we did.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we did talk about that. And, I think there's a few people on the line here who actually have suggested the same thing. And, one of the biggest things, and this isn't necessarily talking about answering that particular question since we have answered it, but going back to, was it Roshana that had asked the question regarding the website and
Jackie?
Was it Jackie? I think, we are going to talk a little bit more about Tribe and Track, and essentially, like Garrett had built his own avatar, is what Max Simon calls it, the avatar. When you are actually, whether you're building your website or whether you're thinking about building a website, the tribe that you're speaking to, you really got to build a picture in your mind of who exactly it is, and the track that you're on is going to be one of those areas of relationship, business, health, spirituality. I mean, those are very, very important, and we will talk further down the road about those 2 things. But I think it is extremely important to really build the avatar and talk to that specific person when you're creating things.
Yeah, thank you. So I don't know if you talked about this one, Kelly, but Michael Dyson says, join a local networking group where business leads are passed among the members. So that was probably when we were talking back about the advertising. Mm-hmm. Roshana asks again about advertising banner ads or text ads, which are better. That's something, we can't tell you which ones are better. That's something that you're going to have to test out. And with like Google ads or pretty much Facebook is text and a little image, so you don't really have the option in Facebook. But in Google, what you can do is set up goals, and you can set up conversions and see which ones are doing better. So that's something that you're going to have to test out and see which ones are getting more clicks and which ones are making you more money. And it depends on the market. So we wouldn't be able to answer that, Roshana, because it just totally depends on where you're advertising and what your market is used to. So that's something you might have to research and test. Tom, GM is dropping all of their ads on Facebook fairly soon because of lack efficiency, I think, efficacy. They will continue their pages, but not the ads. It is a business news online this week. So there you go. So GM's dropping all of their ads on Facebook. I know people that are making a killing on Facebook. So again, it depends on the market, depends on the marketing message, and it depends on where are you sending that traffic. Okay. Robbie has a great tip. He says you also want to make sure the message in the ad and the landing page match. That's perfect. So what Robbie's saying is the message in your ad needs to match where you're sending them. So let's say your message is about, I have these beautiful dresses, and then the link that they click on goes to selling skirts or shoes or something. So Robbie's exactly right. The message in the ad needs to match the landing page. Thank you, Robbie. Okay, Tom, the best ads are like your email yesterday and your experience with quill.com. Oh, that's
That's cool.
yeah.
I
So
remember that.
Tom is replying to or talking about an experience we had with Quill, and that's a perfect. They were targeted, and they,
Yeah, it was, well, it was all about the customer experience.
You're right.
They just totally wowed us at every step of the way, and we it was such an amazing experience that we had with that. In fact, we should probably do one of these BFFs about the
That
importance
experience.
of wowing your customer, because that's a huge one. So
Definitely.
Tom,
Yeah, so thanks, Tom. So essentially, what it comes down to, and I think what Tom's talking about, is if you are placing ads and you've targeted your market, and then they get to your website and they don't know what to do, or they're not happy with your customer service, then first of all, they're not going to buy from you. And second of all, they're not going to tell their friends about you. In fact, they might tell your friends that don't go to this website. So there's a lot of things involved when you're spending money to promote yourself or promote your website. If you're not doing a good job with the customers that you are getting, and if you're not doing a good job with making it easy for them to get what they want, then a lot of times the return on investment with the advertising is not going to work. Roshana asks, we are from an Asian country but targeting global market. So do we have to have a USA number, or is there a negative for displaying our local phone number? That's a great question. And that all comes down to trust. And I think if you're really going global, you're going to need a USA number. And you're going to need to hire somebody over here to man that number, or else it redirects back to you guys somehow.
yeah, I would agree. I would say you definitely need a USA number if you're going to try to go global.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, that's something that you can test and that you can try out. Our suggestion is definitely to have a USA number. Okay, Barry, socialvoicemarketing.com. What is your opinion of posting design articles to create backlinks? First off, what's the quality of those websites that you're posting those design articles? Okay, if it's bad quality, then Google's not going to like it, especially with some of their recent updates. So you just need to be careful on where you're posting those links. As long as the articles are super high quality content, and you're not just spitting those out to everywhere, you're going to be okay. It used to be back in the day where you could just write an article and submit it out to hundreds to thousands of article directories and it would help you out. That's not the case anymore, we're finding, and through my research. So the key is to just make sure that those backlinks are on high quality websites. I think would be our number one tip.
Yeah, the other thing you could do is if that's your big marketing strategy, you can point those links to a third party reputable site like YouTube or Facebook or something, and then those pages will actually show up in Google. You can put some kind of an a video or something in YouTube, and that can rank for what you want to show up for. So you're not putting your money site at risk.
Yeah, your website. So if you don't understand what Scott meant, what he's saying is, instead of sending all those links back to your main website, send them to a YouTube video and get that YouTube video ranked. And then on the YouTube video, have a link back to your website. And then the video, make sure you mention it. So you can just start testing and seeing if those are high quality websites. So hopefully that answers that, Barry.
Can I add one
Go
more
ahead.
thing to that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just wanted to say, when we consider creating backlinks, and I know for marketing purposes it's extremely important to have backlinking, but I think when you're posting e-zines or anything that you put out there, you've really got to think about the quality of the material that you're putting out rather than creating it for backlinking purposes. And I think that's what Scott and Garrett are really pointing out here, that it is important to point, our links to our sites, but just make sure that everything that you put out is of quality so that people can see it and say, you know what, I definitely want to go after this. I know tons of e-zine articles that I have, whether it's just in one area. If it's on ezinearticles.com, I get a lot of traffic from those. So, but you've got to really make sure that you are putting out quality.
Yeah, perfect. Caroline says, great call today. Thank you. Gotta go. Have a call scheduled. Okay, thanks, Caroline. I think she's already gone. Lorraine says, thanks for addressing my question. I will include your advice and move forward. Perfect. Take action.
Mm-hmm.
Lorraine has to go too. Okay, it looks like we're kind of winding down. That's great. Thanks everybody for your awesome questions. Anthony, I've had a website for 3 years, have used SEO, but I still find the problem is people purchasing products. Traffic is the problem, but had traffic but no purchases. So I think traffic isn't
not the problem.
Okay, well, and we've had the same problem, Anthony, with all of our businesses, really. I mean, we get a lot of traffic and then the sales are lower than what we wanted. I mean, we get a lot of sales, but they're lower than we want. And so what we've found is, and what we've kind of moved to is, it's not about traffic, it's about the relationship. It's about getting the attention of the person right off the bat and putting more emotion into our sales. And so like I mentioned earlier, we're totally revamping our shopperapproved.com website. That website converts okay. It does okay, and it's that business is thriving. It literally is, but it can do a lot better. And so what we've been focusing on is, okay, targeting. Again, going back to who are you talking to? Make sure you talk to them in the verbiage and the way that they understand. Next, pulling more emotion into it and sharing with them how this product or service or whatever it is really going to benefit them. Okay.
But it's even more than benefiting. It's creating that some kind of an emotional response in them. So it's not necessarily just about what you sell; it's why you sell it.
Yeah.
It's the why. It's the why that creates the bond, and that's really what we're trying to do in our businesses is to create that reason why we do what we do that creates the emotional bond in the person, which makes them more likely to buy. Because people buy with emotion.
Yeah, that's perfect. And another thing that might help you out. So obviously you need to make sure that you can either redesign or reformat or change some headlines or whatever it is on those websites that are getting traffic so that they can convert better. Another thing that I'd suggest is we have a book that Scott and I wrote that you can get for free online at trustfactorbook.com. And in that book, we talk about 7 very powerful trust factors. One of those being that Gerald talked about, one of those being live chat, just for example. We talked about 7 very specific trust factors that help increase conversion rates. So for example, we talk about security on your website. We talk about having a good customer support system, and just a lot of different things that will help you in creating that trust. Because if somebody comes to that website and they can't trust or get emotion or feel like they can trust you, then they're going to leave. And so that might be some things that might be helping or happening. And so Anthony, go to, again, trustfactorbook.com. You can get the book for free, just the ebook version, and So there's nothing for sale there. You can just go and download that book.
I have an example.
And anybody else that wants to. So go ahead, Scott.
I have an example of that, and I was thinking about it when I was making my this presentation. It had to do with cake. So everybody loves cake, but if you had a cake website, for example, most people, what they'll do is they'll sell, we use the finest wheat and, the best ingredients in our cakes, and, they talk about what's in their cakes. But if you want to really create an emotional bond with the customer, you would sell them why you make the cakes. So, we make these cakes because, my daughter had leukemia, and she asked for a cake for her birthday, and we made this cake, and it changed, it totally changed her life, and she got better. Like, it doesn't have to be that extreme, but you can feel an instant emotional response in yourself when you read a story like that, versus, oh yeah, we have, we put this kind of sugar and this kind of wheat, and,
right.
We deliver in 24 hours. Those are reasons to buy the cake, but they're not going to make the sale.
Yeah. Kelly, anything else to add to that?
Yeah, just that, focusing on the outcome of whatever it is that you're going to, the people buying your products are going to receive. And that's just showing them the benefit of, I think, what Scott is saying is so valid, because most of the time we go after teaching them the process of what we're going to take them through. And that's not what they care about. They care about the outcome of what they're going to get. So I think it's very, very important information that Scott just shared.
Awesome. Perfect. Robbie says, just a tip, the best links are the ones where your customers can find them. Perfect. And that, again, it goes back to knowing your target market and putting those links out where people can find them. I like that. Delton, thanks for answering my question. The information was very helpful. Cool. Delton says, could you speak more about how to get a call back from business leads? Wow. Kelly?
Well, excuse me. This is a very fascinating one. I teach what's called a connect conversation, an enrollment conversation, and that'll actually have to come later on down the road. But for right now, I mean, pretty much what we were just talking about. You've really got to be able to connect with people. I've been creating contacts recently for this big launch, for instance, and yes, although I am going after a lot of the big name leaders, I still work with a lot of people that may not know me, and when I have to contact them, it doesn't matter if they're someone who's never been online or someone who's been online forever. I still want to approach them with the greatest of respect and letting them know a couple of different things. If I, for instance, have seen their website, I want to just say, hey, I saw your website. I really like what I see. And I thought that maybe, you might be missing this opt-in box or whatever. It just depends on what you have a specialty in. If you're marketing, for instance, and I don't really know what your business is, but if I was a marketer, then I would notice on someone's website, although it looks really good, they might be missing a few things, and I might be able to help them with that if they're interested. So I would just send them a little message in their Contact Us page and just saying, I was on your website, I really like it, but I thought that maybe you might be able to use a couple of tips. Would you mind giving me a call back? And it's interesting because, most of the time when I do that, and I would say, I don't know, maybe 80% of the time, people do connect with me because I do know a lot about what needs to be on a website, and whether or not they take my tip really isn't the important thing. What the important thing is, I'm building that relationship. And you're really not going to get someone to call you back by sending out a marketing letter. And I know Dan Kennedy and all these guys would argue with me on that. You can get a small percentage of people to call you back. But truly what it comes down to is just building that relationship. And sometimes it goes a lot slower than what we want. And I totally understand that. But if you just keep at it and never give up, I wouldn't say just do mail outs. That is a total, for me, it's a waste of time. But to be able to get on the phone, you got to be brave and daring and do it. And to, get on a website, put in a message in their Contact Us page, just get out there and do it. Invite someone for a cup of coffee. Truly, you will start to get callbacks when people start to know who you are.
Yeah, and Kelly, along with that, Robert Cialdini, one of the things he talks about is giving first.
Hmm.
And with just what you were talking about, give something to them first, be the first to give and even without any expectation of return. And there's something called the law of reciprocity.
Hmm.
And that law, you can manipulate it, but basically they're going to feel a need to give back to you. And you want to use that law for good, right? But by giving first and doing it in a kind, loving way where you truly want to help them, that can make all the difference in a relationship.
Yeah, that's perfect. I notice people leaving because we're kind of winding down, but keep your questions coming. We'll stay on as long as we need to. But just a reminder, our next BFF webinar, Business Fundamental Fridays webinar, is next Friday, each and every Friday. So next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, same place. If you've already signed up, you will get reminders each week with links to join the webinar. Next week, we're going to be talking about what are the top 3 roadblocks to your success. And we're going to be sending out kind of a questionnaire, letting you ask your questions in advance so that we can have those ready to go. And so for those of you that need to go, and some people have said they have to go, thank you. Jackie says, thank you for the webinar. Thank you. Thank each of you. Brilliant webinar, great quality slides and content. Thanks for answering my question. Have to go now. So thanks, Jackie. Sue asks, what's next week's topic? There it is. We're going to be talking about the top 3 roadblocks to your success.
And we're actually going to send a questionnaire out this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll look for some emails with a link to ask some of your questions on some of your top challenges or some of your top roadblocks that you're having in your life and in your business. Roshana asked a question. As we are from an Asian country, is it a good idea to hide our address? Here's 2 options. Today we've been talking a lot about trust. We've been talking a lot about emotion and transparency. So my first suggestion would be no, don't try and hide where you're at or what you're doing, because people see right through that. But as an option to that, what I suggest you do, Roshana, is find somebody in the US or find somebody in a country that you think is reputable. If you want to hide your address, then it might mean that you're worried about what people will think. So if you know somebody in the US and they'll let you use their address, or they can get you some, they have a business and you can use their address, I would suggest that. So you're not hiding where you're at. Your hub is here in the US or in London or wherever, where that's your hub, and so that's where everything goes. Now that might not work out, but if you can't do something like that, then don't hide it, because that people see right through it.
Right. I was going to say that. Make it, show that you're proud to display it. Do the opposite of what you would think to do. To proudly display your address. We're proudly located in Asia or wherever you are. But then what you can do to build trust is you can have this is a product we offer, but it's just because it applies here. You can put a business verified seal on your website, and so that that happens is a third party verifies that you are who you say you are, and that you're a good business to work with. So that builds that trust.
Yeah, that might work as well. It would work if you want to go that way. Roshana says, great idea. Thanks a lot. Sarah Jane says,
there's one other component, Garrett. I'm sorry, but there's one other component for females in particular, and I don't know that men would actually think about this. So let me just throw this out here real quick. There are some female business owners who really are working out of their home, and they don't want to put their home address on there. So right here in the U.S. anyhow, you can do what's called a virtual office. I don't normally recommend this, but I do know, like for me here in the South Carolina area, I can go to my chamber office and they have offices available there. So I could actually use one of those offices. And there's a sometimes you can set up, like Garrett is suggesting, an office that is not your personal address, a PO box or something different. So, if that's your situation, then yes, I mean, I would encourage you to, try to get a different address. But as Garrett was saying, it is really good to be totally transparent in that as well.
Yeah, so thank you. Sarah Jane says, thank you all for the brilliant webinar, for all the guidance and support. Sarah Jane, thanks, Sarah. Sue says, thank you, bye. We'll be back next week. We hope everybody will be back next week. That's awesome. Okay, everybody, we're winding down. Keep in mind that you can answer all or ask questions next week. We're going to be doing this each and every Friday. Next week, May 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And bring your questions. Be ready to learn how to overcome some of the top roadblocks and to help you be more successful.
We'll post this as a replay too, if you want to go over, the presentation today about finding your why in life and business. And we hope that what we shared with you has helped give you a bigger picture of why you're passionate about what you're passionate about and how you can improve it.
Yep. Kelly?
Thanks so much for all the great questions, everybody. It was great fun to be here with you today. And Garrett and Scott, thank you very much. Scott, brilliant presentation. I really appreciated it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody, and have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.